All right, so you've got your drawing at feet and inches. Get rid of that lady there. All right. First thing I want you to do is create a rectangle that's 6 inches by 6 inches. So you can start your rectangle and then type your 6 inches, comma 6 inches. And then I want you to push pull that up 10 feet. So again, you can just start push pulling and then hit 10 feet and then hit enter. You're going to have to scroll out so that you'll be able to see it. Then what I want you to do is create an offset that's 6 inches wider than your original. So go to your offset tool. You have to zoom in and create an offset from the bottom that's 6 inches wider than the original. And then you can push pull that up 2 feet. Now, if your push pulling starts out as gray and not white, hit the control button as you're pulling it up. Mine is white here. If yours is gray, then hit the control button and that'll change that to make sure that it's white. So there you go. Now you've got that little column there. It kind of forms a little post. Then you can go around and delete, call that healing the model. Delete kind of any extra lines that you've got lying around. It does happen that these things just show up when you make additional faces. All right. Go ahead and add some texture for your stones and for your lumber post. So I'm adding stones in here. Let's go to stone. Oh, I don't like any of those. Let's do the wood. Scroll down. Oh, I don't know what color. Let's pick this one. Notice how you do have to do all of the surfaces. All right, so now I've got all the surfaces there that are the lumber. Then let's go to brick and siding. Oh, I like that one. Let's do that one. Again, you're going to have to do all of the surfaces. So now you've got this post that you can utilize, and we're going to turn this into a pergola. All right, so now we've got this post, and now what we're going to do is we're going to highlight everything. So draw kind of a rectangle around there, highlight everything. All right, now you can see everything is undone since I'm an idiot. Highlighted everything there. Okay, now what you're going to do is group everything. All right, so you've got everything highlighted. You're going to right click on it and you're going to say make group. So we make a group. Now notice it all move as one thing at this point. So this is one entity right now. Now we can go to the move tool. You select our move tool and it will move the whole thing as a group. All right, and you're going to move this 12 feet away along this green axis. That would be like the length of your pergola. So we start moving and you hit control and then you type 12 feet and it will move it 12 feet. See, now you've got 2 posts and you only actually had to make 1. Okay, now rotate around so you've got some clear space kind of working in front of you. You can use the various tools to kind of get some space there in front of you like that. And now you've got a little bit of space here to work. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create the boards that are going to go on top of that. So now we're going to draw another rectangle. And this one is going to be 2 inches by 14 feet. All right, so you start drawing your rectangle and you write 2 inches, comma, 14 feet. Hit enter, and now you see you've got a board. And we can push pull that 12 inches or 1 foot, whichever works for you. I don't know why it did it that way. Okay, that's close enough. All right, so now you've got basically a 2 by 12 that's 14 feet long. All right, so now we're going to kind of scroll around so that you can see a side, and we are going to go to this 2-point art tool, and we are going to create a little cutout. I'm not asking you to measure it, just kind of do something that you think is sort of pleasant. Then you can use your push-pull tool to push this all the way back to the other side. We're going to do that on the other side of the board as well. They don't have to match. I'm not asking you to measure it, so you just do something that looks halfway decent, something that you like, and then push-pull it back. And now you've got a board that's cut out like that. Color your board the same as your wooden post. If you bring it up, you can see it'll show you the colors that are in your model, so you can just select that. You will have to select all of your sides. So you're going to end up having to do the top and the bottom of everything, so just kind of scroll around until you hit all of the sides. It doesn't take that long. I'll show you a faster way to do this in a minute. And now you've got this board here. All right, so group the board. I missed that one. There. And again, make it a group. Okay, so now we have got to move this board so that it's at the top of the posts. But first thing we're going to do is we are going to make another board, a second copy of this thing. So we're going to go into the Move tool, and we're going to start moving this thing. Hit Control, it makes a copy. And then what we want to do, those boards were 6 inches across, so let's do 6 inches. Now we've got 2 boards that are exactly the same, and they are 6 inches apart. So now we're going to group these things. Got to get it so I can group them. Right click on them, make group, and now you've got 2 boards that are going to move together as one unit. So now here comes the fun part. The part that I always struggle with is moving things around. Get that going up on the blue axis. It's so easy to get it going in a different direction. Sometimes you basically just have to move it, scroll around, move it, scroll around, move it, scroll around, and get it placed somewhere on your... It doesn't have to be exact, but we want to get it placed something like this. You could move that a little bit higher. I might want that moved just up just a little bit. Not like that. If you don't like what you've done, Control Z and it goes back. All right, so you get something like this. Okay, so now you've got basically half of your pergola. All right, now what we can do, Control Z, is we can go back and I'm going to move this around so you can see it a little bit better. Bring it back to the middle of the screen. All right, and we are going to highlight this entire thing, and we're going to make that a group. Now I can move this entire thing 8 feet away. All right, so we're going to go back into the Move tool, and I'm going to move this thing. Again, hit Control, it copies it. 8 feet, Enter, and now you've got the other half, except I didn't let it go. So I'm going to Control Z, and I'm going to go back into Move, hit Control, make a copy, 8 feet, Enter. There. Now I've got 2 parts of my pergola. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are going to put the boards on the top of the pergola. So let me kind of scroll around so we can get to the front of this. So in the front of this now we're going to build a rectangle, and these are going to end up being the boards that go on top. So we're going to build a rectangle that is 12 inches long. So you start with your rectangle, 12 inches long by 2 inches wide. Actually, I don't want 12 inches long, I want 12 feet. So let me undo that. I want a rectangle that is 12 feet by 2 inches. There. Now I'm going to push-pull that up 12 inches. Then I'm going to use the same... Here come the dogs. I'm going to use the same thing that I did before to create little gaps. In fact, here they are. Let me show them to you because they are insane. They've just come in from outside, and Tiberius has brought me a toy. We are back after that little break with the dogs. And you should see here on the screen, hopefully you can see the whole screen. I had to kind of set this up again. Should be able to see here where we're at the front of our pergola. We've got a board. This is going to be the first of all the boards that are going to go across the top of the pergola. So where we left off, we have to go and put our arcs, I don't really like it, up. There we go, on the blue axis. That's kind of what I'm looking at. That's not exactly evenly placed, but it's close enough for this. And now what we're going to do is we're going to simply go across the top and fill them in. So again, I'm not really worried if you start exactly at the end or if it doesn't fit exactly at the end. That's no big deal one way or the other. But here, we're just going to start simply moving. All right, now we start moving and we hit Control, and you can see another one. And then you can hit 12 inches or 1 foot, and it'll move it apart. Now, here's something that you can do. You can group the two of them together simply by clicking on both of them. Make another one. You can move them together if you'd like to do that, or you can just go ahead and move them separately. I prefer to simply do it separately because I think it gives me personally a bit more control of things. But you're just basically going to keep moving, hit Control, 12 inches, enter, move, hit Control, 12 inches, enter, move, hit Control, 12 inches, enter. We're just going to keep doing this all along. Control, 12 inches, enter. Now, I could select all of these boards, make them a group, and then you would just simply move one rather than moving and copying a whole bunch of things. If I had all of these boards and made those a group, it would move them all at once. But this doesn't bother me doing it this way, and I can see a little bit more where I come out the end. All right, so move, Control, 12 inches, enter, move, Control, 12 inches, enter, and you can see what happened. See how I started moving it down? And I don't like that, so I Control Z. Gonna hit my move again. Gotta find the right component here. Move, Control, 12 inches, enter. 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 Probably one more on this one. Move, Control, 12 inches, enter. And that's probably close enough. It's not exactly even from the other side, but I'm not worried about that. But here now you have a pergola that was built to the exact dimensions. Now remember, SketchUp doesn't remember those dimensions, but you could measure them if you wanted to. You'll notice over here, there's a little measuring tool. So you can use the tape measure to measure in between. All right. You can put the measurements on there. You'll notice the dotted line shows you where that measurement went. Right? So you can use the measurements there if you'd really like to, but it's not necessary. So I'm going to Control Z and undo that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out and select this entire thing. Now you've got everything. Now we're going to right click on it and we're going to make it a component. Now I have to give my component a name. I'm going to call it pergola. You can put anything in the description that you'd like if you want to do that. I'm going to hit OK. And now it moves as one entity rather than individual pieces and parts. All right, so I can have one thing. So if I go to move this, I'm moving the entire entity and not all the individual pieces. So using components and groups is a very, very powerful way to decrease the amount of time it takes you to build a model and to increase the ability to move the models around in your larger models without doing anything. All right, so guys, from here, what I want you to do is go ahead and you'll have to save it. You'll have to upload it to Carmen, and that will be your Google SketchUp component assignment. All right, you got any questions? Shout out, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.